Greetings. I am Kathumi. Kathumi. There are ways to pronounce my name.
I want to first of all say, as others who have been before me that have come through this channel in recent times, I want to say, as they have said also, what a great honor and privilege indeed to connect with those who I've had the honor of crossing paths with. Now, what this channel has said, what I kind of, shall I say, embrace at this point is that, yes, I did connect with you in some recent lifetime, shall we say. Recent is a very relative thing. We can go back hundreds of years of linear time. I may be considered as first as thousands of years ago, but even in the earlier time of Atlantis, I had brought my higher oversoul self and projected aspects of myself into human embodiment. And it is, of course, true, as this channel had referred to, that I have had some would call notable lifetimes, famous lifetimes. That we look at things not from the sense of physical fame, as it would be termed, but for the spirituality, the consciousness, what we were able to help enhance, to uplift, to expand, to empower humanity. But it is also the quality of discernment, insights, and wisdom, which is our qualities that I'm very much embody, shall we say, as working with the gold ray of the threefold flame, my friend El Moria, another Ascended Master, many of the others such as Saint Germain, many in the, as this channel would say, in the who's who in the cosmic directory. But it is true that in earlier times, and such as my embodiment is Pythagoras, the sense of mathematics, numerology, and cyclic things, the golden mean, the sacred geometry, was something that I, shall we say, created or studied, as others had also, shall we say, contributed to humanity's evolution through understanding geometry numerologically and cyclic, to understand mathematically how this occurs, that our divine creator has a very, shall we say, orderly possession, with the possession of different times of the seasons, different aspects of even the ocean and the tide, and certain forms of natural forces that Earth is affected by. Of course, we would also point out, as this channel would know too, that many things that the term scientists, the so-called masters of knowledge of today in recent centuries, and things that they have claimed, which is so much of it is theory, as there's a much deeper sense of consciousness of all levels of reality, many times in the sense of trying to control knowledge. They tend to manipulate things for agendas. But it was my great passion early on, ages ago, my passion to help humanity. Yes, you can even use the modern term, go down a lot of rabbit holes. This channel likes to say, I went down the wormholes and up the rabbit holes. Those are very true, but it is the quality of discernment, insight, and wisdom regarding the aspects of the Pythagorean aspect of myself was very left brain in some ways, but there was still intuitive sense to that. And that time around the 6th century, when I came even to human embodiment at that time. And of course, even prior to that, there was another time of being one of the term three. They referred to those of us as wise men of the time when Jesus Sananda came into earth embodiment. I was one of the three that saw the light ship. They referred to it as the Star of Bethlehem, but it wasn't just a conjunction of planets. It was actually a ship that traveled and guided us, so to speak, and where, quote, the great commander-in-chief of the heavens would come down, the direct paradise sun, to have his energy upon earth to take on the karma, to transmute it, to take on and willing to transmute that a whole process that he endured and went through, and to rise, to resurrect. So again, becoming an ascended master of his time. So I was very much part and parcel, and you were there at that time as well, amongst some of the events that took place. And many of us have had many, should we say, parallel embodiments of one part of us was in one part of the planet, another part of us, another area, and plus being off planet as well. So understand it's a multi-dimensional sense of something that many of us came to understand early on. But it was at some of these lifetimes in the sense that we say that what we imparted, what we shared, what we inspired humanity to do. And so it was that when I came in as Saint Francis, I became known as a saint in the sense of the Catholic beliefs, that sense of connected with Christianity. But it was my desire to give up all physical material things, and many in the Eastern traditions have also done, and to live a very simple life, to be able to be connected with nature, divine source, and understanding the natural laws by living natural and being able to literally manifest what one needs by being in a state of thankfulness, of appreciation, of knowing the qualities and of all the beautiful things that life has to offer, despite all the pain and all the suffering, and what one has to do not only to survive without selling out, without giving up one's integrity and virtue, those things. So it was my desire in starting the Franciscan order, as an example, and that was where I connected with you then. You were very drawn. You were altruistic, very altruistic, as with myself, having been born up in a very much well-to-do family, and I chose to give it all up, so to speak, because I was drawn to this higher cause, and to start a, shall we say, an order that would allow even women to belong to that as well. So there was a lot of things that I was guided to do, and to, shall we say, inspire others to also, but to ultimately to find as much balance as possible, and to discern, and to be inspired from within. The kingdom of God is within, as others have stated. Yes, Jesus embodied that sense of not having to look outside. Though God is everywhere, divine creation, divine source is everywhere, the greater concentration is within, through your I am presence, through your higher self. You're connected. So it was a sense of being inspired, and so connecting with you in those, as we say, past and connecting with some other lifetimes, even Atlantis and Lemuria. And then when I came out to Shah Zanan, and the, as we would say, around the 16th, 17th century time frame, I'm inspired, and having had the honor of connecting with my beloved, my other half, and her in the sense of, I was only with her a few years, and it was my inspiration to and build the Taj Mahal to be an example of love, an epic, as we say, a representation of my love for her, my other half, who I was honored to be with a few years. And you were, at that time, I connected with you at that time in India as well. You were kind of a scholar. Kind of a kind of a warrior scholar, because you were involved in some battles that took place, but yet you were also recording certain things. Some of that you may, in fact, eventually, certain knowledge will come to you, because in regarding and building the Taj Mahal, it was also based upon sacred geometry and some things that were buried underneath that, or we could call them time capsule kinds of knowledge that will be discovered on certain energy shifts have taken place. So there were certain, again, sacred geometry, mathematics, numerological things that were all embedded within that which took place. But primarily it was a, as we say, representing a sense to my beloved. And so her body was placed, and mine, of course, was placed later when I came to the end of my lifetime to be with her energetically. Again, it symbolized regarding the twin flame reality. And so there were many things that one learns through these lifetimes on Earth, but as ascended master, in a sense, when it was also, I was honored to connect with, she known as Pulaski, Elena, in a sense, and this channel remembers seeing a photograph, in fact, because my friend Elmori and Saint Germain, two of my many close friends off planet on higher realms, as an ascended Earth master, I also have connected much with the galactic beings of light. Many who have learned about me often don't understand that I'm not just limited to Earth as an ascended Earth master. I actually, in a sense, as with Saint Germain, we manifest our own Merkaba light ships. They're like giant, you could say, orbs of energy. Saint Germain ship, the Freedom Star, and mine, you would say, the Gem of Wisdom would be the name of my Merkaba light ship. And being with my beloved other half, in a sense, as having a, shall we say, working in Merkaba consciousness as well as the spiritual wisdom. So it's kind of like an East and West, or say planetary, Earth planetary, united and merged with an intergalactic taste to the whole thing. And but in many of my lifetimes, in fact, is in one embodiment where I taught, so we say, tests of wisdom. And it was an interesting thing, and you were the ones who showed up, where there was a large tent we had pitched. And And there was others who using sound effects where certain ones, this was kind of part of an initiationatory thing where people heard screams and yells and they figured that people were actually being hurt and they saw blood coming underneath the tent. Well, of course, it was all sleight of hand, so to speak. No one was actually being hurt, but it was, could they discern what this was one of the things tests they went through? Was it really happening, or was this something to test their discernment and their wisdom? Somebody might say that was kind of an intensive sleight of hand, but because of Aries' other survivalist kind of roles, how to survive in the wilderness, to be put in situations and be able to turn it around and thrive instead of survive. This was just one of the tests. So it sounded like people were being hurt, tortured, but when one get into the tent, it wasn't that way at all. That was a sense of discernment, to discern beyond appearance, to really see the nitty gritty, what is really going on with events. Today, especially, I worked a lot to overlight all of humanity to be able to discern, look beyond the Operation Mockingbird media fake news that the entire world has been controlled by these individuals who have infiltrated, who controlled, who formed negative mystery schools, or they took over schools that were of the light. This is, in fact, something that Anna Valesky, in fact, when I started to mention that this channel had observed a photograph when my friend Lorianne St. Germain materialized behind her, physically materialized. We were given an opportunity to do that, and it was photographed, and it was representing her connections with us off planet. Now, she had, of course, some negative aspects of karma because she got aligned with the dark side at one time. So we wanted to influence her to make sure that the lodge would not be infiltrated by the Illuminati. Turned it into something as often many other, especially the Masons and others, got taken over and became very dark, as we say, aspects of power on the upper echelon. And so there was a lot of, shall we say, attempt to do that, but some things are able to wither the point of time as time goes on. The wisdom, the discernment, the insight of things allows one to create, as we say, ways and means so that other forces of darkness, imbalanced energies, the dark side cannot infiltrate and take over these things. So there was a lot of lifetimes where that kind of lesson of discernment, that was one of the things that I focused a lot on and helped others who became initiates in the orders of light that, well, I and others were a part of. And so it is my honor today to connect with you once again. Our paths cross. We did a long time to reconnect. So in a sense, I would say, not only because it's a great honor having connected with you in earlier times as an initiate, as a scribe, very much a part of certain happenings going back to Atlantis and Lemuria, and some of the aspects of healing and teaching knowledge. And of course, as Pythagoras, also, you were one of the initiates within the mystery school at that time. And again, the focus on sacred geometry, mathematics, numerology, and many other, quote, mysteries, we'd say, many other things of nature, studying nature, observing, staring at nature for a long period of time. And what does one actually observe? How often humanity looks at something, but they don't really see it. And so it's being able to see with the inner sight, the pineal gland being really active and being not not calcified with, because the Illuminati likes to put things in the physical body to calcify. There were techniques that one learns to develop their inner sight. And some of the mystery schools and using the swords, even where one would be blindfolded and knowing where their opponent is at any given moment. Many of the martial art, some of the lessons that were trained, one would be trained, so you developed your ability to hear and to feel, compensate for the lack of being able to see. And so there were a lot of lifetimes, again, where those things of discernment, being able to really perceive beyond the appearance of things. And that's why today, and I come today to kind of try to help you help yourself through the higher light encodements. Every time we, the higher ones, have a chance to come through this channel, and because of work he has been doing to bring down to, and our work too, regarding the higher galactic beings of light, we're using interconsciousness technology. So today, again, there's a downloading of higher light encodements that are relative to the ability to discern, to have insight, to have wisdom. As one has been said many times, the white light of protection, of purity and integrity, The Christ frequency, when mellowed with wisdom, it becomes a beautiful golden hue and encircles us. You have a lot of gold and silver within your auric field. This is relative to this. And the white light of protection around you, various other colors, and your auric field will change, and at times through emotional feelings and changes that the body is going through. And so as you raise your frequency, the colors become brighter, and there's more of a rainbow sense to it, more of a balancing of all the colors. Some qualities are emphasized, so more of those colors are present. But there's also a sense of some colors that we're going to stand on a little more in the coming time, because there's a part of your consciousness that's balancing. So the sense of wisdom and knowledge and integrity, insight, where as you keep your kind of even keel. Because sometimes you, in many lifetimes, and when I had the honor of connecting with you in the mystery schools, and because your mind was all over the map, we could say you were finding it difficult to concentrate on one thing because you were so fascinated with so much. That's all over the map, you could say. So as you learn to be versatile, be able to discipline your mind. And one of the things I taught was the ability to discipline one's mind, not in a rigid way, but as a way that you could be controlled. Like, as this channel likes to use the kind of funny saying of mind over matter. I don't mind, it doesn't matter. In other words, some things don't matter that much. Yes, everything is important, but sometimes as far as what your priorities are, that may shift and change. And so I will work with you to help others also to discern what are the important priorities in their life, that their soul contract, that their essence, what did they come to do? What can they contribute this final lifetime? I say final lifetime as far as the great vow when Sanakamura sent out the great clarion call, and having the wisdom to perceive above and beyond cultural traditions, planetary traditions. What are the pure aspects of truth? What the channel shared earlier about the whole big pharma and the myth of viruses is referred to in the sense of what is the real causation of dis-ease. I've had the honor of knowing Zosser, the physician of light, who's come through before. The physician of light, worked with him anyways, because it takes wisdom to know thyself. What are the forms of what are the protocols that one can use to be healthy, to be empowered, to be balanced, to be strong in their immune system? Because a good mind, the quality of healthy mind, body, and soul, everything is connected. That was one of the things that I also taught, the interconnectedness through sacred geometry, through vibrational patterns of how your consciousness, your state of mind, your beliefs, and the aspects of the mind, how it affects your health and well-being. Body, mind, spirit, body, mind, soul, the emotional aspect as well. It's all interconnected. The energy of life itself. So again, it's with great joy of connecting with you. And as I say certain things, and also the higher light encodements that are being downloaded through the ray of gold, of wisdom, and your ability to enhance, to fine-tune yourself even more. It's like the dial on a radio, where when you're trying to listen to a station, or in the old-fashioned kind of way, and then you kind of turn it and adjust it. So it's a sense of fine-tuning your I am presence, that part of you, and through the ascension process that you and all of the light are going through at this time. So you're going to constantly fine-tune, may adjust it. And it's not something you have to do so much consciously. It starts to become an unconscious process. It becomes it's like your heart is beating. Now, of course, through certain processes, one can slow down their heart or speed it up. I'll cause your pulse, different things to speed up, slow down, psychosomatic kinds of things. We know that the Cabal Deep State has tried to use things to manipulate that vibrationally, energetically, and through the mass mockingbird media conditions. So we've been doing a lot on the higher realm to counteract that, to help wake up humanity, to help instill more wisdom, discernment, the ability to discern and to see the deeper, or even the subliminal, something this channel I'm aware of also trained himself to do. It's like looking at ads in certain publications and seeing the airbrushing that went on, and how the advertising agencies have instilled subliminals, often satanic and sexual aspect, to manipulate one's consciousness and mind. It's very nasty, very negative. And so there are natural positive subliminals. We can think of the higher light Codements is positive, subliminal, and not manipulating, but enhancing your potential to do the positive things, the things that uplift, the things that bring you joy and beauty, while canceling out old tendencies from previous lifetime, old DNA and aspect. We're becoming more aligned with the sacred and the divine. These things that, again, are all sacred things, like sacred geometry, sacred knowledge, and there are many places on the planet that you are destined to go to access, to find, to reconnect with previous times where you have been in those civilizations, those countries, those cultures. Some places are even in the desert, let's say, or in jungles. And this channel knows, and this has been discussed before, that some of it can be purely holographic. Well, actually, everything is a hologram in one sense, but these are more physical kinds of aspects that your consciousness alters things. So it isn't a physical kind of key. It is the ultimate fail-safe security system, which is actually similar to the new quantum financial system. It's not a key as in a physical key or a normal passcode. It's your DNA RNA consciousness that allows you and no one else to access your account. So in the same way of these ancient places, as a guardian, as a higher priest at one time in the mystery schools of light, it's your energy and no one else other than, say, your other half who could go with you. Other than that, no one else could access it. Once you do, though, then everyone else of the light could go in there and share and be a part of it, too. But it kept the dark ones at bay. They couldn't do it. And that's true off-planet, too. There were places in some of the Stargate systems or dark forces and infiltrated that, and they were shut down. And in a sense, and of course, now they're being opened back up. So there are many places you're going to go, and you go step into some of the Stargate world vortexes, and off you'll go. And initially, where am I going? That's because you have control over it. Actually, you kind of rediscover it. But it's kind of built into it that you can't accidentally really get caught and lost in time and space. Now that's happened a few times in some of the millions of years ago in the early creations of some of these systems, but then they became more, shall we say, aligned with the divine. So it's almost like the analogy of this is a bad old analogy of like some car, some vehicle, the bumper cars at some carnival rides where you get in and you bump in, but you can't really hit it because it's something, it's like in this case, a force field. It keeps you from crashing into something else. It's almost like a natural mechanism of safety. Unlike the present systems on Earth, where it's designed to be dangerous, in the new forms of technology, it's literally impossible to be injured. One would have to try to be injured, or as we often say, like when no one can ever mess up your mission as a light being, you'd have to try to mess up. Well, no one in the right mind is going to do that. So so when you jump into the Stargate systems, you could not end up in a dangerous place because your own sense of survival interfaces with the system, and you end up in some really wonderful paradise of a place. It's kind of like a brainer, not a no-brainer. It's just, so it's a sense of that these are just natural creations of technology and knowledge. One is through discernment, and knowledge knows that the vast majority of beings off planet are benevolent. There are a few negative ones. Again, those forces are being in the process of being cleared out, but in the sense of being in a society where they don't have to have laws written, because in some of the types of things and warnings, like warnings on bags and things, in the new society, one cannot possibly be heard in that sense. And I bring this up because of the sense of discerning how things can be enhanced and increased without a lot of things that are dangerous in that regard. And so there's a sense of the utilization of greater wisdom and in the creating of things, inventions, devices that are naturally enhancing, like rejuvenation and replication. All of those are absolutely naturally connected with nature and vibration. Everything is beautiful until somebody comes along and puts a spin on it, as in the phrase, "It's not wise to fool Mother Nature." Now, of course, I was one that came up with the hypocritical oath that one shall do no harm. That was, shall we say, very much a part of just, we can call it intergalactic and planetary common sense. Why would anyone create something that would be destructive unless they wanted to make some profit off it. It's evil and it's insidious, and those are things that we cannot sometimes comprehend how souls could do that, but there have been the souls who have done it. So now with great discernment, there's a natural building, creating within the structure itself, natural, as we say, protective energies and forces and situations that would make it impossible for anyone to be harmed in any kind of way. This is part of the wisdom of integrity that is going to be part of the dynamics of all technologies. It's just like higher technology. The imbalanced forces now cannot take those and manipulate it. It's impossible. It's fail-safe. It only works with those things that are divine and perfect and sacred. No exceptions. And so that's why the imbalanced forces are all over the universe. The last few of those are losing, so to speak. They either align with the light or they get recycled through the Godhead. So Divine Creator, as in that phrase that has come through this channel, quote, you're going to enjoy life whether you like it or not. As some would say, you can take that to the bank because that's how it's going to be. I bring this up because in all the wisdom and all the aspects of knowledge and what I taught, what I learned from others, because life is a two-way street. And there is even one embodiment where it's like, as in the traditions in Tibet in some places, where some of the monks would change position, where the monks that was the teacher would become the student. And in one of those embodiments, you were a student, Sheila, we could say, and I allowed you to become the master. In other words, to take that role. And what was it like to be in reversal of that? And normally when I was the teacher, shall we say, and teaching spiritual knowledge, now being and receiving of what it's like to listen to the teacher. And so in a sense that life is that sense of learning from one another, just as Ashtar and others of the galactic realm, cosmic masters have said, that, quote, we're not so high and mighty that we can't learn from you. And so even though we monitor things with the higher consciousness technologies, it's still not the same as like the thing of the fly or the butterfly in the wall. And you're looking through your eyes, and the higher beings are looking and they're perceiving it. Sometimes it can be somewhat different physiologically, energetically. They see things, they can see everything working, but it's not the same as the perspective and contrast, as others have said, that you now, through all these lifetimes, have gained greater wisdom. And because there's no other planet like Earth where you've been able to learn the levels of discernment, the deep sense of understanding, perspective, and contrast that you could not be learned anywhere else. Extreme sometimes, yes. And so taking advantage of that opportunity, and this being your last embodiment, again, I wish to just say it's been an honor to have been there a number of lifetimes to connect with you. And it's an honor to now see how successful, in a spiritual sense, that you truly have. It is manifested through the greater goals that I see within your auric field at this point. So again, I'm honored to have been one to help influence you. It was your choice to choose to go along with it, but it was my honor to be one termed as a teacher, but yet you were a teacher to me too. We're not so high and mighty. And roles are reversed, as we said, for the purpose of seeing the different perspectives. See through the eyes of somebody else. What's it like? How do they view it? We can monitor it. We can understand it on certain higher levels, but it's still down in the, as it was said, the grunt level. Yeah, that level, the grunt level. Look beyond it and look beyond appearances to see what's really going on in the interface and how there can be greater unification. And even though the imbalanced forces have always sought to bring division, and I and other beings have brought about to bring unity and alignment without giving up one's sovereignty. To be able to unite in the important things while still being able to agree to disagree, as we do all the time in the higher realms. It's a blast. It's wonderful to have differences, but we still love and admire and respect one another. We're in fellowship, and we learn from one another. And that's the thing of having greater wisdom. It allows one, because one looks back with hindsight. Of course, there is that famous saying, an ounce of you could say, perception ahead of time is worth more than a ton of hindsight. When you look back, if you had a little bit of ounce of perception ahead of time, then you wouldn't have to learn the lesson over and over sometimes until I finally got it. Like a light bulb. You get a light bulb going, I got it now. Now it's in the core of my being. It's second nature. It's second nature, third nature, fourth nature, first nature, different ways to describe it, that it's advanced. Now it's part of your consciousness, part of your makeup. It becomes part of your consciousness, and you're projecting it out all across humanity and being a teacher in a more indirect way, but you're teaching by your energy, your presence on earth, And it's like the 100th monkey effect. It's like dropping a pebble in the pool. The ripple effect goes out everywhere. So now not one doesn't have to go to a mystery school. All of the planet is a schoolroom. We can say all the planet is a mystery school of finding the things that have been hidden. The great mystery school right now is to discover and expose all the things the imbalanced forces have been up to. While one must forgive, one will not forget in their wisdom. One doesn't have to remember the details of what's happened. One just retains the wisdom and the awareness and the consciousness. So the great mystery school in this sense is now all of the humanity, over 95%, who are going through this mystery school of initiation, so that now anywhere you go in the universe, your level of wisdom, your level of insight and discernment is so much greater than you could ever have learned anywhere else. That's why you chose to put yourself through this. And it was just pointed out through this channel, and our friend Ashtar and others, not that you do things for rewards, but you get a lot of hazardous duty pay. As we could say, again, you don't do it for rewards, but it's a natural sense of great positive karma dharma manifesting in your consciousness that takes you all over the universe to share so much, the abundance of consciousness, abundance of joy and beauty. And yet on a physical level, there is a magnetic sense of manifestation and creation based on universal principles, the sacred geometry, mathematical sequences of how the universe operates, that your consciousness is vibrating and creating and extending and influencing and beautiful and blessing everyone and everything, all kingdoms, the mineral, the plant, animal, human, and all levels, all kingdoms and every level of the universe is all blessed by this association. So again, I will kind of pause here. I get into a flow, and I want to be accused like Ashtar of being a motor mouth. But I get excited and enthused to see one of my former students, but yet equal to me in your own unique way. To have had the honor of connecting with you, cross paths on and off the planet. And now at this time, in the wisdom of looking down from the higher realms, and yet manifesting many times my presence and consciousness with many of my other ascended master friends and cosmic masters that we work with, intermediaries, different beings, different realms. We're all working together in different capacities. So again, it's a great joy, and I just wish to express again such a joy to be connecting with you today, and to see one of my former students truly graduate many, many times, and to demonstrate, to truly manifest the qualities of that consciousness. And of course, mistakes are always learning. We have never judged anyone for human mistakes, because you learn through that. It's only when one keeps repeating the same mistake over and over and over again that we get concerned. And somebody once said a saying that that's kind of insane to do the same thing expecting a different outcome. You can say, we're not laughing, man. We're laughing with you. We're feeling joy, the celebration of humanity waking up, and then now learning that they don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over. And now they realize there's different innovative ways. I also kind of, so we say, embody that sense of innovation through insight and discernment. How one can go off what may seem left field, but something over there in the left field, there's something they need to find over there, or the right field, or behind, or up and down. There's no limitation to going around, going over, and many times in situations where you should have died, and you learn to survive by changing the strategies. And of course, there's that term, the art of war, and different strategies and priorities, different things that you do that you alter and change, you innovatively change over and over again. It's like a computer kind of thing, your consciousness trying infinite number of ways until finally you discover the perfect ultimate solution. That was with herbs and different substances, of things that would help heal the body versus things that would be more successful, would be more powerful. So there's a lot of knowledge in that area as well. Herbology and things that, because you would communicate with the elementals, the nature spirits, the elfin kingdom. They were, of course, very much the guardians of the plant. So you had an innate sense in some lifetimes, in a sense of how to come up with things that were very powerful, very healing. And in fact, you could say that there's some botanicals that may in fact be discovered, despite many thinking that everything you could possibly discover has already been discovered. Or, I can assure you there's places on the earth that most of humanity has not gone to, for various different reasons. Some have been sacred and are off bounds temporarily till humanity shifts its consciousness, and then those things will be opened up, because that's where some of the holographic cities and places and temples have been hidden. Now they can be, the holographic condition is removed, and now humanity can go visit these beautiful places. But there's also some areas waiting for the kind of like time locks that have been, and so so we say energetically. And even he, known as Leonardo da Vinci, was one, in fact, that I connected with as a merchant, and so he also designed a lot of time lock kind of sequences. There's a, shall we say, an aspect to knowledge that have been buried away, and then when the time is right, time capsules, and it's dug up or it becomes available. Humanity will begin to discover some of these things from Atlantis in earlier times when you and I were Atlantean high priests. And there are many age orders, even the Druids that started out very benevolent. Unfortunately, they eventually became infiltrated to a degree by the time of Arthur. My friend El Moria, who was King Arthur, there's a lot of truth about many of the myths and legends that historians don't want to acknowledge, that there's a whole stretches of history or events that have happened. They say, oh, that's just myth and legend, because they don't want to acknowledge that maybe what some would call magic. Saint Germain was Merlin at that time, and those of the Knights of the Round Table things are very much connected with, so we say, humanity's upward evolution. Those that were the guardians of light. That many orders were taken over, and then other things for a period of time of, say, 40 years, where the light was anchored very strong in England and Glastonbury and some of these places. Unfortunately, dark beings tried to pervert those energies and related to the Y lanes and special vortexes, stargates, and vortexes that were connected with energies off planet related to the Stargate. So there are many areas of history, again, that will be more formally understood. Atlantis connection with the Arthurian times and different times of history, again, related to time travel, and a lot of capsules, again, things that have been buried that will be discovered. Urines, different containers that contain information from the Atlantean times that can be discovered. And many elixir products. This channel knows some of these things too, regarding certain elixir type drinks that are light-filled drinks that would increase oxygen in the body, for example. The use of different herbal mixtures that would raise consciousness, or a combination of those things. There's many of these former recipes and things that were designed, and some of the tablets and scrolls, and they are, in fact, I was also honored to connect with you when the Great Library of Alexandria. Now, many claim that was destroyed. It was only the upper level. The under levels are still intact, but unfortunately, there were dark things that took place that tried to pervert some of that as well. But again, I'm just touching on a few things here because of your knowledge and your passion. You went on quests. You went on travels to discover, to explore, and some of even the Arabian Night legends of traveling and exploring. This channel has a lot of connections with some of those as well, and some of the mythical individuals actually existed, despite, again, historians, that's just myths and made up things. Yet they make up a lot of false negative myths. Well, the positive ones about couples and twin flames and fairy tales, those things that are actually based on fact, that, that's just fictional, because they don't want to acknowledge beyond what was happening, the metaphysical, the paranormal, the higher truths, again, sacred geometry, all the sacred things, and humanity being guardians and battling many dark entities for rescuing and liberating humanity from these kinds of entities. And again, now things have come into a balance and that wisdom itself is expanding. Now humanity is having a crash course to wake up, and now on a mass level this is happening. Humanity is learning at a fast rate, because the incoming frequencies that we ascended masters and cosmic beings work with is rapidly, if one has the potential to wake up, they will. Some take a little bit longer, but first time in human history, no time in human history has more souls woke up at a shorter period of time than in the history of the entire planet. It's happening right now. So this is why we're all very exciting. That's why I connect today. Just kind of go down the memory lane, just touch on a few times that have been significant. And again, this is just very brief summarizations of things, and you're welcome to kind of tune in, get a little more detail. And it's my honor to connect with you and communicate with you if you're open. And I will kind of, as we say, extend the hand of friendship to doing that. many lifetimes off planet on other worlds and galactic systems that we have been before. And it's very much connected also with the Comoras on the planet Venus. There's a lot of connections there, and many of the other planets within the solar system as well. Again, those who know about me in a human sense, as far as my role with the Theosophical Society in earlier times, only know a little tiny bit about myself. There's a lot that's more galactic oriented and connecting with many of the beings, as with Cortine, who came through last week, and the time and other masters as well. I've had the honor of associating in some of the council meetings, having the wisdom and knowledge. What can we do to bring certain treaties and alliances together? Between certain civilizations, it might have some difficulties because of differences in how they look at things. How can we come to find a common ground so so that this is a win-win? We have the wisdom, we have the discernment, the insight. Those are again the qualities that I embody very strongly, and that you have that quality as well. So I just want to emphasize again what a great joy this is to connect. So I'm going to open it up now. And again, we learn from you as much as you learn from us. If there are some questions here that I might, in a sense, help clarify with greater wisdom here, and help your greater wisdom to be elevated even more, a greater sense of connection with divine source, my passion that all of those I have the honor of interacting with in fellowship, that I help them. Life is a two-way street. We're helping one another. We're all benefiting, and our quality of life is enhancing and being improved upon. So my brother, at this time, again, as I connect with you, and I'm standing aside for any things I might clarify.
Have I ever been, during this current lifetime, have I ever kind of, been taken out physically, like to off planet or maybe to different places? Have I ever traveled?
Your physical self, no, but etherically you have. As far, again, this physical body is, we could say, one of several existences that you are experiencing. So the physical sense of your present physical Earth body that has been three-dimensional, though the 3D on Earth is now shifting to a 5D reality. There's another part of you, a couple other, you say for sure, that is in another galaxy, and we could say even another universe. There's another part of you that is operating. And there even seems to be, you could see a couple other existences as well. And so it's may seem a little sometimes paradoxical, or what a paradox is two apparent conflicting truths occupying the same space. But there are a lot of things that our divine creator creates, even though everything is perfect in divine sacredness. There are things that appear to be paradoxical, only because of the uniqueness of some types of phenomena that occur in the universe. And then it gives humanity a chance to kind of philosophically try to gain some insight and wisdom, perception about why are those things happening. And eventually it becomes not so paradoxical, because you begin to see it could be like what we call safety valves in a pressure cooker, as far as reality, how it moves, how it manifests, and how some things seem to be contradicting, but really it's just a perception of like aspects of a mirror, different mirrors, different aspects to the same reality being viewed, different things. Part of the sacred geometry itself is the constant evolving, transforming types of experiences, and that's where epiphanies and kind of things occur. When you have an epiphany, you have a certain self-realization of something, and it will manifest. And it can be a huge shock, or very profound, and it can be very provocative, as the channel would say as well, because of the impact that others were present. Now, with some major energetic planetary wake up that's going to be even more intense here in the next few years, it's going to build in momentum, and even the potential of this solar flash thing that many are concerned about. But we're not concerned in the sense of the destructive aspect. We are more excited about how this event, and how much of one sudden instant kind of thing versus how much it will be spread over a period of maybe even a few years. The divine creator is kind of deciding, you can say, on that, how intense it will be, how much of a buildup will be, or how instant it will be, will kind of vary related to the time frame, the timeline, how humanity responds in these next year or two of how much of the 94% potential is self-actualized. So there's a lot of different factors and dynamics that are playing out right now that are we're trying to combine, trying to unite and unify some of these dynamics, because we are also guardians in different realms. We work as aspects of our divine creator. We're given responsibilities to oversee, influence, make sure things are working to the highest potential that we can at any given moment. So we are, many of us, as with myself, regarding being lords of karma, as our job has been to oversee and help humanity come to a point in their evolution to release the negative karma and balance everything out, enough of negative karma that through the law of grace, cosmic law of grace, that now all the negative part of that is still there is instantly transmuted. Jesus and Ananda did a lot to take on that karma, we could say, and other certain beings, or like certain avatar type beings who came to Earth, also did their due diligence to add to that momentum, releasing karma, giving enlightenment. There's different aspects and different cultures of different beings who sometimes paid the price, until it became clear that after a while, especially now, in this new age, one shouldn't have to give up their life in order so others will live. Now, Jesus and of course, prove that one can overcome physical death, and to, as the ultimate ascension at that point, as creating a momentum that others too could be resurrected through experiences that they had. Physical death doesn't have to be the end of everything. Now, with rejuvenation technology becoming available very shortly, where now you can rejuvenate and be at a young stage, physically young as you want, there's a lot of new dynamics manifesting in the universe around planet Earth that wasn't possible for quite some time. They had come in earlier during the time Atlantis, Lemuria, and then they got corrupted and distorted by the dark side. Now, again, as mentioned earlier about how the fail-safe nature of this technology will no longer be allowed, can no longer be manipulated by the dark ones. It's like, as this saying that's come through this channel a few times, water off a duck's back. With that, imagine water because of the oil and the feathers of the duck, it doesn't get wet. Or it's like a greased pig effect. You're trying to hold on to the greased pig and it slips out of your hand. That's kind of a crude thing. In other words, it's impossible for them to get a hold on it. It destroys themselves actually, because they're going against something divine. One is the heart is pure. They merge and blend with that system, that way of life, and it's a win-win. Everybody's benefiting mutually when sovereignty is intact. Everybody's helping one another, and everybody's still being allowed to be unique. And as has been said many times also, divine creator threw away the cookie cutter mold when every one of us, as individualized God sparks of divine intelligence, was created. So some are chocolate chip, some are peanut butter, some are butterscotch cookies, a lot of different cookies. And so it's a matter of recognizing your uniqueness and being proud and aligned in your highest potential, and coming from integrity and virtue, and doing the things that bring the highest qualities, the highest joy of fulfillment, and seeing all of this humanity uniting more and more. So again, we are here to help as much as we can as guardians, while still allowing humanity to push the buttons, pull the levers. But again, your actions give us mandated authority. We're coming up to the end of this whole chess game. So rapid progress is being achieved, and it's building up in momentum. And so it's just a matter of staying calm by watching the dark side flip out, panic, and they do crazy, stupid things. And some would say when they do that, they expose themselves big time to everybody, and they lose any authority they had totally, completely. And as in the saying, the first shall be last shall be first. You and others on the level of the people are now really the leaders, rulers of Earth, in the sense that you are the ones who make the decision. The rulers, those who choose as representatives that truly represent your needs and your wants, will be truly in positions of, have to answer to the people. But those elected representatives, in that degree, will truly fulfill the people's needs, so they don't have to put their attention. They will be guardians from here on out, unlike in the past when they didn't pay attention to what was going on. It'll be more of a kind of back of their mind awareness, like an alarm that goes off at any time if somebody tries to mess with things automatically. There's warning, warning, kind of thing. Immediately one that puts their absolute attention now won't be right that. But we don't see that those in positions of power abusing as they did in the past, because now they all want to do for the work for the will of the people and for divine creation itself. And so everything is moving very greater levels of integrity and balance and order. It's accelerating, it's building up intensity. And so it's exciting to watch this momentum and this, all that's being accomplished. It couldn't have been accomplished before in the way that it is now. Every day and every way, things just keep getting better and better and better. That's a great mantra. Every day and every moment, every way, things just keep getting better and better and better. They keep building up momentum. And so in that sense, it's has been said before by those that nothing can stop what is coming. It's just a question of exactly how fast will it come. It's moving very, very rapidly. Pretty soon it'll be past the speed of light. You can say it's moving incredibly fast, and the balance forces have very little time left to even think about anything. It's moving so fast because in the grand scheme of things, what we see on planet Earth, it's like a flash that's occurring. When one slows down, but because one is presently in linear time, it seems a lot longer rather than how quick that it actually is occurring. So again, we stand by to be of great help as much as we can. You have another question?
So regarding accelerating, regarding speeding up, regarding enhancing my personal evolution, abilities, memories, focus, etc. What all different things would I or could I do to help me in my personal journey? Regarding the accelerator chair, I could ask for it when I'm going to sleep. So then they would be lifting me etherically to to get access to that. That is a wonderful access or a wonderful gift that I believe have been shared with me, and I'm really thankful and grateful for that. So that is something I do quite often. I don't know have I actually been to that accelerator chair or not. I really don't know.
Well, you have actually. You've come, we could say at least once, but I would say that the more, it's always right before you go to sleep, and you're getting ready to go to sleep. That is when you put a special request out to Voltron and say, okay, I really want to go. And you have to do it every time. It's like you have to renew it. It's not something you say, okay, for the next, it's kind of a ritual, but it's kind of allows you to feel responsible. It's kind of physiologically geared to make sure, as Volter would say, that you, it's a psychological maneuver where you feel responsibility, as in the God helps those that help themselves kind of principle, which then gives higher forces, of course, the authority to step in and help you. You're giving you're being given the access to that experience in the accelerator chair, because you're taking every time before you go to sleep, you renew that request. It's like symbolically having the ticket, and you show your ticket, and then you're allowed to access the event kind of in the same way. So it's just this kind of renews your participation. It's like the 24/7 thing. Visual, 24/7 visual. It's called, where your life, your protocols, it's like an initiatory thing. People often spend a certain number of hours and days preparing for something, or a cyclic thing that keeps a balance. It keeps the evolutionary processes going. And this is just something you can look forward to. So it becomes as long as you want a nicely thing, because perfection is a relative thing, and the more times you do it, the more you will influence that part of your consciousness that you want to totally release and get rid of. It may be very subtle at first. We may not necessarily feel anything, and in gradual period of time, you start to get this kind of subtle sense something has indeed shifted. You may not be able to put your finger on it. What is that kind of subtle feeling I'm getting? And then gradually it becomes a little bit more of a sense of a stark contrast between how you felt before and how you're starting to feel now. That is the state you're moving into. Then it becomes a little more than subtle. It may initially be very subtle, but it may take a while for you to even feel the subtleness, because of how much everything is relative of how much effort is taken to get something in versus somebody else. But proportionate to that sense of effort is what you're going to get out of it by putting the effort there. It's going to be a response of that having well worth the effort of doing it. and then sitting in the chair that accelerates your vibration and consciousness and helps to release any old, unprocessed psychological stuff. As the saying is, so you feel more free, you feel more nothing getting in the way of the progress and things, qualities you want to see more of. And it's just one of those many protocols that can help in the process on the physical, because your physical body is sleeping, but you're theoretically up on the ship. And that's just a way of, because things always happen on the etheric before coming down to the physical. So it's just one of the many protocols, both heaven and earth, so to speak, that you're doing and we're doing on the higher levels, different beings are, to help to work together to enhance this whole process.
Regarding my pineal gland, regarding the decalcification, regarding that specifically, because I understand it helps a lot with the intuitive purposes and regarding travel and all that.
Yes.
So is there anything or what all things should I or would I be doing in order to enhance that or accelerate that, the decalcification part, so I could actually use that part of my anatomy, the physical?
Well, actually, the accelerator chair has been incorporated, shall we say, with other things that can kind of, because it is releasing primarily psychological trauma and psychological emotional stuff that's it's embedded genetically through trauma and things, but also there's kind of an aspect to that that there's an incorporation, as we would say, of some energetic things focused on the pineal gland, because the ability to see and to acknowledge things in the physical body, emotional, psychological things is connected with that. But it's also just visualizing the violet fire and the indigo ray around that area, so that the sense of the third eye being able to see, the clairvoyant sense, also clairaudient to hear around the entire area of the head, because clairvoyant, as far as you hear, as far as an inner sense of hearing, and then the inner sight that you see through the pineal gland and all the chakras. And that's why doing the cosmic color meditation is very good, because if you look the color, and there are, the energy is suggesting here, it's not mention exactly who this is, but if you put the feelers out, there are, so we say, certain individuals who are specializing or starting to specialize in to help decalcify the pineal gland, to get it free of that, from all of the stuff that can be built up while being on Earth. So there are certain cleanses, detoxing, that is available. We would say you will be, as you type in things on your Earth internet, things will come up. You should kind of check through which would be more, you would feel more aligned with, because it's like different strokes for different folks. You might combine a couple of them, you might do just one of them, you might even change it over a period of time. It's entirely up to you. I would just suggest doing what you can to research it a little bit. And then I feel you would come up with some suggestions, some protocols that would be of help for that. And of course, this is all kind of a temporary thing because as we approach the time as the med beds and rejuvenation technology becomes more easily accessible by the public, then a lot of those problems will be a thing of the past. Getting into the rejuvenation chamber and what it does with the physical body and rejuvenating you on all levels, energy-wise too. Both physical and the energetic, the etheric, the astral, everything is cleared. And there's different types of those beds too, from the technology being applied, and then things become more advanced. And first, the doctors have to work with them. Eventually, they will become portable units. You can have in one's home, and eventually it won't even be necessary to have them, because humanity will have elevated their consciousness in the more crystalline type bodies that you will have. So you won't need that technology to keep you in a rejuvenated state as you initially did. The body is being readapted, reactivated for a higher dimensional reality than you've existed up till now. And now literally being able to live forever in a state of total harmony and joy and paradise. It's been a long time since that reality has been on Earth. To have returned to it now, paradise, the Garden of Eden, everything pure and advanced in the highest level, pure joy, fulfillment. And so Earth is beginning to go through the transition to get back to that paradisical state again. And it's like an aspect of divine creation. Divine creation is trying to decide when that green light moment to give the Alliance the moment to do the RV, because only divine source, divine creator can know that perfect time. And it's kind of when this channel has thought, well, maybe divine creator is changing divine creator's mind. In other words, things that might have been even the creator. We can say everything is learning. Even the divine creator can be learning. It's like we're all evolving, and the divine creator itself is evolving. It's hard for some, even we can say it's the alpha and the omega, the last person always will be, and it could not be anything new. Well, that's not true. Things aren't always evolving, improving, enhancing. Even though perfection, you can say divine creation is perfect, but perfection is relative. Greater levels of perfection, greater levels of sacredness, greater levels of fulfillment, and each of you being individualized, God spoke to divine intelligence, you have within you, yes, certain secrets, quote, as they could be defined, and those secrets will be revealed. But it's, as in the saying, it takes an inch, it's Ascension takes an inch, a trial is a mile kind of thing. It's going to happen. It's all going to be revealed. But what is the actual time frame of that? So you're feeling it, you're getting close to it. Intuitively, there's a sense of those secrets, that knowledge. It's there. You're almost close you can touch it, almost so close you can taste it. It's there. It's just beyond the peripheral vision. If I could just reach in and grab that kind of thing. We're so close yet so far. Oh, it's there. And then sometimes the anticipation. What is that? As I'm getting a little humorous here, there was this commercial many years ago. Anticipation. He has the ketchup bottle turned upside down and trying to get the ketchup to come out. It's all of a sudden it comes out. But he was standing there a long time. And it just would not come out of the ketchup bottle. And so sometimes it'll come all of a sudden as a gush, or it may take a long time before that. It's a lot to try to predict that magical moment. Sometimes that takes away the magic of it. It's when it's unexpected is sometimes the greatest joy, the excitement of sudden discovery, rather than, I got this report next week at a certain time, such and such is going to happen, and by the time it happens, the whole thing of it, getting ready for it, is versus it being a sudden, spontaneous epiphany, a synchronicity, things of that nature. So that's why so much, as much as has been revealed to humanity by the alliance of Earth and those of us off planet, we've only shared a tiny little bit of what is yet to be experienced. Because we want it to be more of a surprise. Most of the vast majority of the event want it to be a surprise. It's not the main foundation, has been said. Like the foundation of the skeleton of the house, the structure's been there. But it's been said before, and others have said it. You get to fill it in with your own, we say, design, color, fill the rooms up, make it into a complete structure. So the basic structure and foundation was there, but you then transform it into the more futuristic city reality that has always been. Potential was always there, but because like the molding clay principle that has been brought through this channel before, molding clay, you can mold it, you can work with it. Well, it's a cosmic done deal and sacred promise. It's all going to happen. It's not a rigid, defined, this is exactly how it's always going to be, because the molding clay, the Play-Doh, is always flexible. It doesn't harden and that's it, crap, stuck in concrete. No, you have a chance to change your mind, even up to the last moment. Like, I think I need to change this right now. I didn't see this before. Now I have a greater vision. Quick, grab this thing and take care of it. And this channel experienced something like that just recently in regard to global humanitarian projects and things, where when you have a chance to step back and you have a little more time to reflect, what do you exactly want to do? Not that you limit yourself in other ways, but you see more of the specialization of your mission, which you wouldn't have seen if you had a chance to have done things sooner than now. Sometimes when you wait just a bit longer, then you give it more clarity and more perfection in that situation. That's how the evolvement is happening quickly. Humanity is seeing more and needing to acknowledge things, and it's getting more exciting. But there's still so much of the greater details yet to be revealed. Only the basic, very, very, very rough outline has been shown to you. It's like that, again, that thing of the tip of the iceberg, the little tiny, teeny little tiny tip, almost a split, almost a speck above the water. Behind it is millions of miles under the water. Really, that's how big this Earth's iceberg really is. That little tiny speck. And the rest of the iceberg is miles deep. So much more. All you see is the speck. You have yet to see the bigger part of the iceberg. That really, it's kind of a good analogy. It might be that, someone argue, there is, as far as the activity that I'm describing, it may not seem that much activity, but the impact on you, the intensity of what you're feeling could write volume in the physiological, psychological impacting what you're going to experience in an event that has never happened in human history. Yet our divine creator is about to reveal, I could say him, herself, the divine source is about to reveal itself in a very personal way to every soul on earth. All life will feel the divine creator in a more personal, direct way than you've been feeling for many lifetimes. It's time for the divine creator to get a little more up close and personal, so to speak, of how real divine creator, divine source actually is, rather than just some belief as those who claim to be atheistically cynical. Even agnostics will have a sudden epiphany of how real our divine creator is. That's going to happen. It's an event, coming closer and closer to humanity. So yeah, seeing individuals having that ultimate, as in the phrase, come to Jesus moment. It's there's a little humor there with the seriousness of how awesome it actually is. Or come to Buddha moment, come to Krishna moment, come to different kinds of, come to whoever, a deity or a being you want to use in that thing. So all I can say is, again, it's an awesome, wonderful experience today to come through this channel, to connect with you in this interaction, because of wonderful things that come out of interaction when it's a win-win, when all of us are winning, all of us are benefiting, all of us are being blessed by our fellowships and our associations, as is always the councils. Again, we can still have agreements to disagree, but we never do it with any anger, because we all respect and love each other's perceptions, and we all learn from one another, and we have sometimes a chance to change our minds and reevaluate, continue on a little bit more, and divine creation gives you a little more time and to get it more right. Oh, now I'm more ready. Thank God it didn't happen last week. Oh my God. Dang. And so having that, not being attached to it, but being the guardian to it, treating your body like a temple, not a cesspool, that kind of thing. It's just a sense of galactic common sense, discernment, intuition, right and left brain balance. Everything is in alignment. The sacredness of life is being revealed more and more every moment to everyone. And to be a part of this historical moment on planet Earth, considering out of the 7-8 billion individual souls on Earth, where half the world's population is from somewhere else, that's a tiny little speck compared to the how many zeros behind a one of those waiting in line to come to Earth, and there was only a certain number of physical bodies available. When you realize the significance of you being one of the 144,000, that gave you some, as we would say, some wedge of being able to have first dibs, as the saying goes, upon having a body, because you made a vow you had to fulfill. So of course you're going to be given one of the first choices this final lifetime, because there are not that many choices to have. As we said before, it's like that bulletin board up in the heavens say, oh, no, that's not my cup of tea. Well, there's no other choices. Okay, I guess I got to go for that one. And then, because, the beggars, as the old saying, beggars can't be choosy kind of thing, in a kind of humorous way, but it's very serious. This final lifetime, fulfilling the vow of the 144,000, keep coming back until the job is done. Now you have more wisdom, discernment, and insights to continue on this journey. Now, of course, we have others here of the higher realms, those of us who have been kind of also waiting in the wings to connect with you. They feel a great honor also, because each time we connect in this kind of way, there's some very interesting, often not mentioned through the work of channeling, kinds of interactive, kind of interesting changes occur when we come through a channel. And when our energy, not just what we say, but our consciousness, our personality and such, interacts with the earth, and in relation to the ley lines and the pattern, the frequencies, and how this will continue to increase and become more and more interesting. We hope that the opportunity, again, it's entirely up to you. You've had a discussion with the channel before about situations that you're in, but yes, from our perspective, of course, we look forward to coming through whenever we can, as we continue, as the momentum continues to build up, and the greater abundance will eventually manifest in your life to more than compensate for certain challenges you've been faced with temporarily. We want to make sure it's a win-win for you, and that there are no regrets or anything, but instead a great feeling of joy and this opportunity. We're feeling of great honor, and we like to express that. So we're trying to do what we can to make as much for you and everyone else a joyous, a wonderful abundance of knowledge and wisdom and joy of interacting and fellowship as we feel. And again, the impacting as we come forth all the time, and this chance of every week to share a sense of dialogue and to learn from you in the sense of the interactions that are unique for this time of human history. And we are now noticing this channel's time frame. Perhaps one more lesson, one more last minute question before we unfortunately have to cut off today's indication. Is there anything, one last thing that would be, we might give a quick little bit of insight?
Yes, I feel really drawn to the word integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now, especially with this interaction, one of your the things that you have mentioned during this interaction is the word integrity. I feel really, really, really drawn to this word.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel it's it's something that I embody or I value from a very deeper perspective, and looks like I have worked out of this value in my previous lifetimes also.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I emphasized that. I hammered it home, so to speak, because it was my perception that if one does not have integrity and virtue, now, of course, there are different interpretations of the word virtue, even, or some deny everything and become very imbalanced to such a point, even though they're idealistic, they can't live in, quote, in the real world because they become isolated from everyone else in that sense. But that's difficult too when one is kind of born out of time, or they're born like they feel like they're born in the wrong country or wrong planet kind of thing, and they're trying to live up to this what they interpret as integrity and virtue of coming from integrity, not selling out, not compromising on ideals and principles, for balance and order, and virtue is the aspect of that. Having virtue because you do the just thing, the right thing. It's difficult to do that sometimes under the circumstance, especially when there's peer group pressure and there's cabal ways, sleazy kinds of ways to cause one to compromise and become corrupt, you see. And it's very subtle, some of the things that these forces have done. Now, we put in place relative to this, you're going to enjoy like whether you like it or not kind of thing. This was an earlier example. And this was connected with my friend Saint Germain when he challenged the karmic board by basically saying, I challenge you to come down to earth embodiment for even a few minutes or not deal with any karma. And with all the virtue and integrity, intent, they still succumbed a little bit to the energy, almost like affecting the law of gravity, as they like to call it. And we can overcome it by anti-gravity kinds of things, but we're saying that there was a sense of what the imbalance forces did to even the most, one of greatest integrity, to very subtly influence. And so one had to be a really powerfully aligned and a discerning individual to see those subtleties of how the corruption, how the destroyer would take something sacred and beautiful and twist it around and pollute it and twist it and destroy the sacredness of it. And that's what they always seek to do, to take away the innocence, so to speak. And one doesn't have to become corrupted to become worldly wise, though. It's like the difference between positive vulnerability and negative vulnerability. So in the sense of the students that I taught in the earlier mystery schools, I emphasize this integrity and virtue as being one of the most important qualities of the foundation of your life. If you didn't have integrity and virtue, then your foundation wasn't very secure and strong, because the prevailing winds of change could throw you off, and it was like the ship with the sail could be, you'd just be plummeted and thrown this way. Giant waves would come in and destroy you. But if you had the right strong ship, symbolically, of course, and wind in your sails, you could survive the storm. Well, the storm is about upon humanity is going to be a phrase that one is, in fact, about to utter, in a sense, because it is representing that all of humanity is ready. You've gotten yourself strong. You have the integrity. You have the virtue of a strong foundation. So through the winds of change, this hurricane cyclonic change is about one last storm. Those who are strong in their integrity and virtue not only will survive, but will thrive. So that quality has always been a very important cornerstone, mainstone of your essence. Because if you have that, even making mistakes, you come out okay. Because again, you learn through mistakes. But it's the intent and motive that makes the reality of what through that experience. The virtue and integrity makes your intent much more powerful, much more focused, much of a higher quality. or staying power, or penetrating power, or aligned with the divine, sacred, divine universal creation in a very powerful kind of way. You have a stronger relationship with divine creation and are more assured of being protected and guided, and so that you're not plummeted and even wounded and injured, so to speak, by all the arrows of outrageous fortune. They're fired. And so when you have a strong sense of awareness, you have a force field of integrity and virtue. And so it's like water off a duck's back again. And it has no staying power. And you're not, then you also know when to let go of the grease peak, so to speak. It's a useless cause. It's not, or you might be actually finding you're holding on to it, but normally people can. It's slippery. But something about your consciousness allows you to be in control of it, symbolically speaking, and so that you're in control of your destiny. And it's been discussed before, free will aligned with destiny, it gives you a greater destiny potential, and it's a given. Like a husband done deal, sacred promise, it's going to happen. The only question is exactly the time frame, because even the divine creator may change his mind about the time frame based upon every moment as you evolve, as you grow. Certain things are being repositioned, calibrated, enhanced, fine-tuned. Like an instrument's been played a while, I need to tune that instrument. It's got a lot of tune, so we're going to tune it a little bit more, and now it plays even more beautiful than it did even than in the beginning, because it has a greater range of vibration, a greater ability to expand and adapt. So with that, and your ability to expand and adapt, I want to bless you. I am Kathumi, the Ascended Master, and a great joy and honor it has been to connect with you, one of my former students, but yet at the same time, I've been a student to you in that sense of sharing life by being a two-way straight. So I bless you, as above, so below, and so it is with greater discernment, insights, and virtue, integrity, knowledge, wisdom, all of these things, and so it is. Blessings.